not only the organizers, but also my friends, wherein I've come back to my own old workplace. And thank you, Jiteji, for giving such an exhaustive introduction. It wasn't required, just 2 lines are enough. I'm teaching.
Still, I have missed so many things, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you so much. And thank you, Preeti, for inviting me. Thank you, Ratna. Thank you, Seema. And dear children, I think if everybody permits, I think we'll start talking about research design, which is your topic. And I do you want to wait because children are still joining in? Do you want to wait for 2 minutes or should we just start?
You can start.
You can start.
Okay, then I'll start sharing the screen. Okay. Is it visible?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll put it on the presentation mode. Yeah, so today the topic of my topic is research design. And in this course of research methodology, I'm sure the children have been introduced to the entire process of a research methodology. Research is something which we are looking at again and again. And search would have sufficed, but it is called research. That means we need to revisit everything in a real logical manner, because science, as I understand, before I start off, is that science has to follow a certain logic. If it defies logic, we need to rethink and redefine it. So how would I like to address my entire talk today would be, I would, for the benefit of students, I would like to define it, talk about the purpose of research design. Why should I waste my energy or time on doing a research design? What would be the function of it? How would I like to classify it? What is the uniqueness of designs? What kind of designs I would like to put them under? And whether I want to design for quantitative research or for qualitative research. Because I was not sure whether I'm only going to address the science students or I'm going to be able to be exposed to the arts people also. So I've taken a few examples for arts people. I don't want it to be a monologue. If somebody has a question, they can start putting in the chat box. If I am able to see, I'll cross back and say. Otherwise, one of the organizers can stop and then I can re-explain a situation, whatever you all want to, however you want to take. But to move on, let me, yeah, sorry, yes. Somebody want, okay. So by definition, I would like to define a research design is a plan. Whatever activity we want to do, we want to make a strategy to do it. So there should be a plan, a structure of investigation. Why do I want to have a plan? I want to have a plan because I want an answer. So to have an answer, I have to have relevant questions. So my problem has to be such that I'm able to address the answer. I cannot have 2 questions and have a third answer. So my plan and strategy has to go around the problem which I want to address. That means that there has to be a structure, has to be a hypothesis, and then only can I reach a data. And once I have the data, to the final point of an analysis of a data. But a traditional research design was a blueprint. It was already a detailed plan defined that this is how I'm going to do and this is how I'm going to do, and that is going to be the end of it. And the research could not deviate. But as of today, the variables are too many. We cannot have a blueprint about a design or a research plan. Any plan is subject to change. So there cannot be a blueprint anymore. Earlier, I'm talking about when we were doing our PhDs, we just knew that ऐसा करेंगे तो ऐसा answer आएगा. आजकल ऐसा नहीं होता है. The variables are so many. So further on, in 62, Selets, Deutsch, and Cook, they defined it in a better way. They said a research design is nothing but an arrangement of the conditions for collection. Please be careful. Of the conditions. That means the conditions can be variable while collecting. The analysis of the data can be with a different perspective. It can be in a different manner. and it will aim to combine all the problems, the research, whichever we want to do, but the procedure should be economic. So now we understand that the research design is not about just कि हमने आज सो के उठे हैं चलो चलो कुछ कर लेते हैं, नहीं, कुछ नहीं कर सकते हैं. अगर हमें research करना है, we have to be very planned. So what will help me to take a decision? Whether the question I'm asking is valid, so it has to be validly done. You have to be objective about a problem. So I have to look at it with a clear mind. So that objectivity should be there. I should accurately address the problem. So the accuracy is there. And in the entire scenario, none of us have the money to spend. So we have to be very economical about the research. So what exactly does an investigator do before planning? We have to think about the validity, the objectivity, and accuracy, as well as the economy. Then what does the other person understand? When you come to me with a research problem, this is for the student or for the faculty, whoever wants to do a research, what is the question you're going to come and talk to others? So the others have to understand what is the study design you are proposing. क्या करना चाहते हो? और करना चाहते हो तो कैसे करोगे? Means what and how. How are you going to collect your information? From the respondent means if we are going to pick up people whom we are going to ask questions, तो किस basis पे? How are you going to select your respondents? वो बच्चे होंगे, बूढ़े होंगे, जवान होंगे, बीमार होंगे, या किस age group के होंगे? How will you decide? Once you have decided, how will you finally choose upon कि I will only pick up the children from class 4 to class 6 or 10 to 12? How is the information which you're going to collect finally be analyzed? Or how are you going to communicate your findings? Because the findings also have to have a certain aspect of analyzing and putting it on paper. So when I write my findings, does it make? Does it make sense or not? That means kuch bhi karo, whatever you want to do, there has to be a rationale behind your research design. And when you have a rationale, then you should be able to justify what you're doing. So all the above decisions which you're going to take, you have to have a rationale as well as justification. When I have to have this justification, then I should be able to support them. I have to defend my hypothesis. So at every point of time, I have to defend my hypothesis by declaring that you have gone through the literature. People have worked before on it. And if people have worked, this is what they have found out. And why do I want to do? Because I think it is not appropriate. I want a separate answer. If I want a separate answer, then what is the kind of question am I looking at? So research design in itself becomes a very important tool. So we have to understand if something is important, we have to understand the function. So that means the function of research design is to find out an answer. So if I want an answer, first of all, I have to have an identification. Problem pata hogi tabhi to answer khojenge. So you have to know the identification of your problem, and then you should know how to develop a protocol or a procedure to address that problem. एक बार हमें procedure पता लग पहले identify, then development of a procedure, then only can I have logistic arrangements. ठीक है, मैं सुबह जाऊंगा क्लास में ले लूंगा, फिर शाम को जाऊंगा पूछ लूंगा, or I may address an old person. If I go and ask my grandfather in the middle of the night, he will never give me a right answer. But if I go and look at a teenager and at 5 in the morning, I will never get the correct answer. So you have to have logistical arrangements when you can address which population at what time. I'm just giving you a funny example so that y'all are awake. Then also we have to ensure that whatever protocols we follow or procedures we follow, they are adequate in quality. That means they should be up to the mark. We can't have one grandmother you have asked, the other grandfather you have, the third you have asked for 50-year-old. Arey bude to bude hi hote hain, put in same category. No, there has to be quality verification, quality control in whatever data collection you do. And then you have to validly be absolutely objective and accurate in asking questions and writing them down. Documentation also becomes a very important part of it. And all these variations, Erlinger has called it control of variance. There is variance, so we have to normalize it. We are supposed to control this. So That means if I have to identify and develop the procedures, then we have to follow the rules. And how do I follow the rules? First of all, you make a design. The design per se means if I have to do any work, I have to have a design, and that design has to be either cross-sectional, before and after, or longitudinal, or I have to have a detailed information about the following aspects. Now, these following aspects you have to understand that who will constitute the study population. Like I just kept saying in between, you must understand who will constitute the study population. How will the study population be identified? On what basis am I going to say that, okay, I will take the readings or take the information only from this set of populations? Will a sample or the whole population be selected? That is another question. If I decide to collect a sample, then how will I contact that person at the right time? That is also very important. Whose consent do I need? Do you know, to do any medical problem, any survey, we have to have the ethical issues cleared. So there has to be a consent, the patient's consent to take any kind of questionnaire. So even for a simple survey, there has to be rules which have to be followed. So if I am going to take any kind of collection of any data, I have to know whether the ethical people have to be contacted, whose consent do I need, what method of data collection I'm supposed to do, and why am I supposed to do that? I have decided on a problem. How does the government interfere? Why should the government say anything? No, there are rules, and the rules have to be followed when you're putting up anything, because you're collecting a data, you're going to make a thesis out of it, you're going to make a dissertation out of it. You are accountable. You are supposed to give an answer, and you are responsible for the written document. So that is why you have to take all kinds of consent. You have to understand what we are talking about. So what method will I use and why will I use? In case of a questionnaire, where once the responses are collected, we have taken the protocols, we have followed all the protocols, we've taken the rules, we've taken the consent form, then where will you submit these consent forms? Or am I supposed to take the consent, take the documentation and return it to the people where we have done? Or the respondents, when they come up with the queries, what will I do with them? Am I in a position to answer their queries? And in case we don't do that, we don't do a collection of data, but we're just happy to take interviews, then where will the interviews be conducted? At a normal place, at their house, at the hospital, or in your premises of the thesis or workplace, wherever you're working. So by and large, the ethical issues are very difficult. So we have to be very careful, but these ethical issues should be taken care of before designing the experiment. So when I decide a research problem, I have to worry about all these. And like I said, Kellinger said, there is a control of variance. So what is a control of variance? That means there is an independent variable, and this independent variable has the opportunity to create its effect based on the dependent variable. That means an independent variable is whether anything happens or not, the event will go on happening. But the other dependent variable is that only a change will occur based on the independent variable. So that means if there is a change in dependent variable, it will be equal to change in independent variable 1, change in the extraneous variant, whoever the variant is, plus the change in the independent variable. So that means there can be 2 or 3 independent dependent variables. There could be 2 or 3 independent variables. And based on that, I will take out the sum total of the events and create a change, final change, which has happened to the dependent variable. I don't know what is the question I have asked, what am I talking? So I will just give you a small example. Maybe you'll be able to understand better. So that means whatever is my problem, I have to decide that that problem I'm able to isolate it as a problem. पहले तो problem को problem define करें, फिर eliminate करें, फिर quantify करें. So that means, example ले लो, एक independent variable है heat, dependent variable है performance in exams. हर बच्चा गर्मी में एग्जाम देने में बहुत पसीना आता है, टीचर को इन्विजिलेट करने में बहुत गर्मी लगती है, extraneous variable क्या होगा? Seats. Supposing I take my seats, they are broken, they are uncomfortable and still. So heat, uncomfortable seat, all these are going to affect the performance of the student in the exams. Chance variable kya hai? Personally, I could have fever, I could be vomiting, or there is noise coming in from the other class. Maybe that disturbs me. There are many people who will just put an earplug and not get disturbed at all. So am I being able to explain that my dependent variable will depend on all these chance factors, extraneous variable, independent variables, but the performance of the student will depend on, and so we can then quantify the dependent variable based on the things which are affecting it at that moment. And can I have yes or no from the class? Otherwise, I really don't know whom I'm talking to. It will continue as a monologue. No? No responses from the students allowed?
Yeah, I think response is not allowed because they
have been muted. Okay.
Yeah, they have been muted purposefully.
I will presume that everybody is following what I'm saying.
They will ask you questions at the end of your talk. So
okay, fine, no problem. So then, we move on. We have understood the problem. We have understood the dependence of variables and the performance pressure. So my design will be such that these variables do not impact it. And if the variables are impacting, then we will have to take what you call notice of this and make solutions accordingly. Now we further on move on to how to classify a study design. So my types of classification are going to be based on the number of contacts with the study population. So I have a population whom I'm going to study. So how many numbers of people in that population I'm going to take reference of, and how long is the reference period going to be, and what will be the nature of investigation. So my classification will be based on these three things. So that means if I take the classification by design, so number of contacts, reference points, and nature of investigation. So my number of contacts is going to be either cross-sectional, before and after, or longitudinal. So first I'm going to quickly go through this. The first is my cross-sectional studies. The first question, yeah.
Anita ji, wo chat box mein students are responding, yes ma'am, yes ma'am. So I just wanted to let you know that they are able to understand.
Yeah, well, the chat box should be visible to me also.
They are saying yes ma'am, thanks,
yes.
and all.
Okay.
Thanks.
So it's there.
Okay, good. So they are alert and they're not sleeping. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, they are alert. Yes, yes, they are.
Yeah, thank you, because the afternoon is a sleepy time. The heat and the pressures and the TV in the other room is disturbing everybody. And there could be other personal pressures like the husband calling, the children calling.
No, the students were waiting for your talk, so they are alert.
That's nice. Okay, I hope I'm not boring, but so let's move on. My first study design was based on the number of contact with the population. Like I said, it's good to be cross-sectional. That means in a cross-sectional, it could be just one-time contact or more. So if I have one shot, statistically, ek baar mile, baat kar liye, kaam khatam. Most commonly, this is the design which is used in social sciences, because social sciences, they actually are not so experimental. So wet lab hota nahi hai. For them, it is a better way to do is one-time survey, maybe 2 times, and that also I'll explain. So most commonly used design in social sciences because they get an overall picture and they're quite happy with it. It's a very simple design. एक questionnaire बनाया, जल्दी से बांट दिया, 1 घंटे बाद, 4 घंटे बाद, 2 दिन बाद, वापस collect कर लिया, and then whatever you have got as the information, like garbage in, garbage out. जैसे questions दोगे वैसे answers आएंगे, and accordingly, you are going to decide what is the answer you are looking for. You're going to identify your problem or the study population. You can select your sample, contact the respondents. Respondents are the study population people, 1, 2, 4, however I want to know. And we know that we've got our required information. We are quite happy about it. Then we move out. What do I find out when I say most suitable for finding out what? What are this survey 1 point contact is good for finding a phenomena. whether like COVID-19, I've sent out, I'm going to ask the question, is everybody scared of COVID-19? You will get yes. Are you inside? Everybody will say, despite the fact that they are outside, but they will say yes. A situation, today is a situation. Today, are you out of the house, inside the house? So you have yes, no answers. So you know what you're asking. So your questionnaire is such that you already get the answers you're seeking. So a problem, this one contact survey is very good to know a phenomena, a situation, a problem, even an attitude. What is the attitude of the general population towards a phenomena which is happening, or an issue? Aaj Jamia mein ladai ho gayi, the students are out on the streets. So you take a 1-point survey and you get an answer, and by the evening, the TVs are already showing what is your response. So that means the impact of any management on a street crime. Did the police reach, not reach? What is the health of the community? These are the kind of examples which can be addressed by one contact, a cross-sectional contact, just one time. Even if I want to know the unemployment in a city, or whether you are happy with the product, consumer satisfaction. So these are generally cross-sectional designs. What are the advantages? Very economic to undertake, very easy to analyze, but it cannot measure, it cannot quantify the change. And in sciences, we have to quantify changes. So social sciences, we can accept this, but for basic sciences, we can't. Never mind, we move on. Next is the designs, where I'm going to worry about whether it is pre-testing or post-testing. So that means now the contact, instead of one, becomes a 2-point contact. That means I have to go back to the same population to understand what has happened. And this is best suited when I want to see a change. Now I want to quantify a change. So that means I'm going to quantify again the same issues, the situation, the phenomena, the problem, the attitude. But instead of having a qualitative understanding, now we want to measure the change. This can tell us the impact of a certain program, government program going on, private program going on, or an intervention study if it has taken place. So this is called a before and after design. So this is a 2-point contact. Third comes in the longitudinal. Now I have a problem. Yeah. So the third comes in as a longitudinal problem, because the longitudinal problem also tells us, okay, this is before and after, which is a diagram which I put in much later. So this is a study population, and on the right side, there's another box, which is a study population. The program or the intervention study can be taken at 2 time points. That is before we have done a data collection, and after also, that is post observation also we have done a data collection. So that means this study design is nothing but something which can help us to measure change by comparing 2 situations. So what is the advantage of this? The advantage is that we can have the impact of funding, so I can quantify, like even if I want to quantify the quality of teaching which is happening in universities, pre-Congress, in the Congress era or Lalu era, or now in the BJP era, something like that we can do. Or we can have the effect of now that NAC has come in, IQAC has come in, what is the counseling services on marital relations, or we can have the advertisements on the sale of a certain product. So different, again, the disadvantage is only that instead of 1, we are looking at 2 data points. So it is more difficult to implement because it is very difficult to find the same person again. Today you have taken the survey from one person, he has moved on somewhere. So it requires a longer time to complete, difficult to find the same people. So the time lapse can actually cause problems, or it can actually vary from the original problem. That person, old man, just said liya tha survey, he's no more, he's dead, the young person has died, something or the other. So it is good to measure the change, but sometimes the independent variables affect it negatively. Third, the longitudinal design. This longitudinal design just helps us to understand the pattern of change, sequential changes. That means you're looking at the same population and you're doing the survey number of times. That means n number of times you would be going. So you are basically collecting a natural, simple, factual information from people on a continuous basis. So this information gathering each time is difficult, but it is very important because the respondents are going to give you the information. The people are not changing because the time lapse is not so much. So it is a longitudinal 1, 2, 3 as you can follow. But this can be repetitive. And what happens, people give you an old response. हाँ बता दिया था ना, हाँ वैसा ही है. So they is not going to be very clear when you are asking somebody too many times the same question. So the accuracy of the data can be questionable. हो सकता है people don't even go to collect. They say अरे वही तो है, क्या बदलेगा? You will write it on your own. So there is a bias, there is a accuracy problem, so the reliability goes down. So this is a design which was done to overcome the problem of before and after, but somehow it has not achieved its purpose. But still, we are looking at all the designs so that we understand anything we want to do. We take an informed research design before we move on. Now we move on to the next thing, the reference point. The reference point could be retrospective. आप कब से design करना चाहते हो? Much before से prospective, future, retrospective को लेते हुए future. So again here, this is the time frame we are looking at. The time frame just means nothing. Whether the phenomena or the event or the problem or the situation has occurred before in the past, occurring in the present, or it will occur in the future. In a retrospective design, we're only looking at the old ones. The basis is that available data for that period of time and whether the respondents can recall that situation. But when I'm looking at today, I cannot decide. Look at the population of New Zealand and Australia, where you have Aborigines. These are those tribal people of there. In early 20th century, you have maybe in hundreds. They cannot recall all their old worship rituals or things or whatever their traditional knowledge was. Now what happens because of this? Whatever you're collecting is on the memory. So maybe this is a retrospective design on the basis of which I'm going to design a future problem. So whether the validity remains or not will come in much later. So this is same, recall the past you have to recall and you have to design the present study based on this retrospective design. For the perspective study, we are talking about the prevalence. That means ये आज ऐसी situation है COVID की, we are all under lockdown. In March, we couldn't conceive that in August also हम रहेंगे. So that means the prevalence in December, we are going to now look at the situation today and think about December, whether this is going to continue. So the same phenomena, situation, problem is going to be based on the outcome of today. In the future, is it going to be the same? So you establish an outcome of an event or what is likely to happen. Am I going to predict कि March में lockdown हुआ तो December में भी lockdown होगा, or are we predicting that it is going to ease out? So that means you have to basically classify your experiments based on the past experience or the present. So that means we have to wait for an intervention. We don't know what is going to happen. So similarly, your research design is also something which you don't know. आपको पता ही नहीं आप क्या सोच रहे हो, but आप सोच रहे हो, तो knowledge priorly is very important for understanding today's events and for predicting tomorrow's events. So here also the data collection has to be primary or secondary, but my study population is going to be primary to predict the secondary. So examples here, you can see a parental involvement on the level of academics achievement of the children. हमारे बच्चे अच्छा करेंगे कोई ज़रूरी नहीं है, गरीब के बच्चे ज़्यादा अच्छा करेंगे because their level of necessity is higher. So based on this, we cannot predict that. Or to measure the effect of change of the migration in policy. I have deliberately taken some social sciences examples too. Retrospective and prospective study design, basically it will impact both the past trends and the future trends. So based on today and study of the prior information, past information, and the existing records, I am going to predict and plan a future experiment. And this is going to help us design the study. So study population is going to be recall or the secondary sources, study population based on the present, and I'm going to do a data collection with a future perspective. So this we have again taken into consideration all this. The problem is that there is no control group. There is nothing where we can say, okay, this is the best knowledge which was there, and based on this, I'm going to compare it with the control. No study. Please remember, you cannot put up a research design, experiment, study without a control. So the controls are most important, and controls also, there have to be two types of controls. One a negative control and one a positive control. Positive control is where they have undergone that problem and then they are positively saying. And two, who are the negative is when they have no idea of the control of the problem. So that means if there are no controls, the study is always questionable. The accuracy of the study is questionable because there is no baseline on the basis of which we are going to compare it and say that our results are better. So anyway, the examples could be the effect of incentives on the productivity of the employment of an organization, on the child and health services, effect of advertisement on the sale of a product. Anyway, as far as the classifications go, we worry about the nature of investigation. This is more scientific because here we talk about experimental. So we have to do an experiment in the controlled environment, or we can, whether it can be manipulated or not. So whether my independent variable whose effect had to be investigated on a given problem or a phenomena or a situation, is it under controlled conditions? Can it be manipulated or not? So as a result, what we look at is that there is something which we have given treatment to, or we have done an intervention program. We allow the experiment to work. Then we explore the changes, we see the outcome, we see the effect, and the study population remains constant. We are going to keep it under controlled environment. We do not allow them to move out. Or we can have the effect on non-experimental studies. We just go out and do a community survey, and from that community survey, you come up and give the answers. So that is another way of doing it. So you're looking at both experimental as well as non-experimental studies. So when I do an experimental design, I have to introduce the intervention. That is what I assume that is because of this problem that the change has occurred. And I have to wait till I have sufficient time to produce that change. That means supposing I'm looking at an animal, I'm going to give a disease model and we wait for the model to develop a disease and then we do an intervention to cure it. So my independent variable here would be either observed or introduced or controlled or manipulated by the researcher. So while I'm doing the experimental design, I have to be very, very careful. So that means, am I doing it in the natural conditions? I can allow the fish to grow in the pond and then put a label, mark it, do the experiment, put it back in natural conditions, or I'm going to keep it in captivity and then do the experiment. So study population either can be in a room, in an incubator, in a whatever natural environment, simulation of a natural environment I can do, or I can do it under natural environment or natural conditions in the back in the fields. That will be my experiment. What would be my non-experimental? That means I already look at the impact, the effect, or an outcome, and then you have to go backwards and decide the cause. Or I take an independent variable, which I cannot observe it, I cannot introduce it. So that is an independent event which is occurring on its own. Assume that it has already occurred, and then design my experiment around it. That means I am actually retrospectively putting a cause to the outcome. The cause has happened some other time, but I'm trying to attribute something to it. Or there could be a quasi-experimental study design. This is called a semi-experimental design. And here it has properties. Quasi is pseudo. Pseudo means dono ho sakta hai, idhar bhi udhar bhi, which appears to be an experimental or it appears to be a non-experimental. And in this, we are looking at various examples. Examples I have taken slightly later in time because otherwise I will finish all the time without even making you understand what are the unique study designs which can happen. That means I can have an action research, I can have a collaborative or a participatory research, I could have a feminist research, jo ki in the 70s, this feminist situation, condition had come in quite a lot. So this word has come in and everybody talks about it now. Strictly speaking, these are not designs. I cannot classify them in any categories which I have expressed, but these are philosophies. These are methodologies, and they have gained an importance of their own. We cannot do without them. Today, even if I allow you students as MSc students, now we want to fill up Newton Bhabha forms, or you want to put in any kinds of forms to apply to go abroad. Everywhere they have a gender sensitization program, or they have a gender studies column where you have to fill in. So you have to be so much aware of these things, whether it is collaborative, whether it is application based, whether it is action research. So that means these are philosophies which have taken importance of their own, and these cannot be negated. So whenever you put a research design, you have to write a paragraph saying, why is it so important? Why am I only looking at women things? Why am I not looking at other things? Okay, so a little more. Action research is basically action and research. That means either I improve on the practice, or I take an action about a problem or an issue and then address it, or I just talk about a philosophy of community development. That means I'm involving the community members so that they can improve, or I'm looking at the entire process in totality, and holistically I'm going to identify a problem and try to look for a result or an implementation of a solution which otherwise somebody had not thought of. It could be an obvious problem also, and an obvious implementation method, but that could be a research design as well. And the other action focuses on an existing program which is already ongoing. Many people like Menegra ko dekh rahe hain, other problem, education programs, which the government related programs are there, but people have made research problems and tried to identify the impact of those on the areas where it is running, whether it is running at full efficiency, it is achieving its potential, or I can put an intervention research which could bring about a change in the existing program. Similarly, if there is some problem which is unattended, unexplained in a community, that also can be taken care of. When I talk of collaborative, that could be both in action research or anything where we are trying to collaborate to minimize the gap. My expertise could be something, somebody else's could be something. So I design a research program where we could collaborate and get the best of both and minimize the gap between the researcher and the participant, and we could help. Again, here the willingness to collaborate should also be there from both parties. Feminist, everybody knows about this. It just talks about the awareness of women's issues and concerns. Basically, it is trying to reduce or eliminate the power imbalance. It's a male chauvinist society, so they are trying to intervene. Changes of gender inequality, social inequality, all these kind of things should not get biased. Ki ye research to sirf boys kar sakte hain, girls nahi kar sakti hain. These kind of things cannot come into it. So that is why they have given that. Now this from here on, it's only going to be a little bit more on the scientific way of designing the experiments, because here I'm going to now talk about maximizing the control over the factors to increase my validity of the findings. My validity is very important. And the researcher has to have certain framework under which it is going to plan and implement its study. Now look at the examples. If I have a casualty, my high blood pressure or an ulcer, these are 1 point things. But when it is a multi-casualty, that means this person has been smoking for years, they have a high fat diet, does limited exercise, and then gets a heart disease. So my concept of research design has to come from here, that okay, there are 3 problems, I'm looking at this, and that is why he's got a heart disease. So what is my concept which is related to the design is that there is a probability of or a likelihood of this outcome that usko heart disease hogi hi hogi. I could have a bias in my product ki there ye itna mota hai, isko zarur hogi. But that bias could lead to a slanting finding. Maybe it is not accurate. All fat people do not have a heart problem, but many thin people have a heart problem where nobody looks at it. Can I manipulate, or can I intervene with a treatment? Or have I taken all controls and all designs which I have made have taken care of all the phases of the likelihood of the problem which was coming in? So that means my measure of accuracy in this study has to become strong. My accuracy has to be tight. So that means I have to critically look at it. What do I look at critically? My conclusion statistics for validity, they should be there. There should be absolute internal validity. झूठ नहीं बोलना है, bias नहीं करना है, गलत information नहीं देनी है. मेरी वैलिडिटी का कंस्ट्रक्शन भी सही होना है. एंड एक्सटर्नल वैलिडिटी जो बाहर से आके ब्लड प्रेशर मेजर कर रहा है उसमें भी चेंज नहीं करना. अरे छोड़ो ना, लिख दो, कम लिख दो, कोई बात नहीं. नो, there has to be absolutely no biasness to have a complete accuracy in the validity of the design. Similarly, my strong research design would be when I can control the environment. And what are my levels of control? Natural setting, partially controlled, that means my clinics, highly controlled settings when they are in the laboratories, because in laboratories, nobody will allow any manipulation of the data. Controlling of the equivalence of subject groups also, we have to be very careful about random subject selection or selection on a bias. ये poverty area है, ये गरीब area है, यहाँ से ले लो तो यहाँ पे data जरूर ऐसा ही आएगा. So your design of the problem is already biased because you already know that the data coming from this area is going to be like that. Similarly, controlling the treatment. So if I control the treatment, I have to choose a treatment based on my research and the normal practice which is already happening. My protocol for implementation also should be in correct situations and in a controlled way. I cannot give the injection in the morning or in the evening. If the time has been determined, it should be in that same time because the body's response depends on that. Similarly, my documentation should be complete. My checklist should be there. And the evaluation of the treatment of the study should also be under control. We cannot allow people to take advantage of it. So that controlling will increase my reliability, my validity, my number of measurements, and my types of instruments which I'm going to use. That will also give me a little less bias. I want automated instruments so that there is no bias. But what are the extraneous variables? Whatever I have given a base, I'm just taking now in terms of examples. So that means I have identification and eliminate. We want to eliminate whatever extra variables are going to create my problem. My sample criteria has to be good. My choice has to be good. My sampling has to be good. It should be heterogeneous, homogeneous, or matching so that my statistical controls are absolutely under control. Where will the problem come? The problem will come when we have inappropriate study purpose. My research framework is inappropriate. I have a poorly designed problem, or my methods are poorly implemented. Even my problem, the treatment which I have given is low, inadequate. Then my measurement methods are not good. These are all going to create a problem of your study design, which you will never understand. So here I've just shown a little chart where I start with the problem. Is there a treatment? Yes or no. There can be only two answers. If no, then is there a primary response examination of that? Yes, no. When no, then you have to describe the design. If yes, then will the sample be suited as a single group? It could be yes, it could be no. That means I could have a correlational design. Here again, if the answer for the treatment was yes, there is a treatment, mostly we have a problem which we are taking is nothing new. Some form of treatment intervention already exists. So in that case, what do we do? Is this treatment tightly controlled by the researcher? If yes, my answers are going to be good. If no, then it is going to be quasi. That means the ones which I had explained where you have pseudo answers, post, past, present, and future. But if it is controlled, then my random design of the control group, is it going to be good? Yes. If yes, then is my original sample on a bias or randomly selected? If bias, then again you eliminate your design ki kharab hai. But agar yes, then you go ahead with your experimental study. Then you're going to get good design, good answers, and your research could be completed well. Similarly, we could be, here also we are examining a sequence across, that was the cross-sectional. Here also we have similarly, whether we are following the same subject, yes, no. If no, then whether we have been able to collect the data. If yes, then you submit. If no, then you avoid it. Supposing I'm unable to have the same set of people again. So from cross-sectional, I can go into longitudinal. If I go into longitudinal, then I have to have another set of parameters to do the same thing. So similarly, we can go on interchanging the design also. Here now what we understand is, now I'm clear, मेरा problem सही है, मेरा method of measurement भी सही है, मेरा description of my problem भी सही है. I also understand कि एक variable नहीं, दो नहीं, तीन नहीं, चार different variables से मेरा impact यही पड़ेगा. तो मेरा interpretation जो होगा, वो interpretation का what is the meaning of that? Whether on that interpretation, can I develop my hypothesis? Can I defend my hypothesis? That will be an answer which you start getting. So if my research design is strong, if I've gone through all these steps, then whatever hypothesis I develop at this point of time, I will be comfortable. Ki, haan, theek hai, we can go ahead and we are going to be good. So that means I describe my variable, I compare the selected variables, I interpret, and then I move ahead with a hypothesis, and we will be very comfortable with that. So that means if I am doing a correlational design, इसके basis पे वो, जैसे supposing I make a correlation which is very simple. जुलाई अगस्त में admissions होते हैं, इस साल तो हुआ ही नहीं, पर जुलाई अगस्त में बारिश भी बहुत होती है. If I say that admissions of university depends on the rainfall, is it going to be feasible? No, it's a stupid answer, because you are two independent variables which occur together at the same time, but they cannot be dependent. So my correlational design also has to be not just theoretical, it should be practical also. It should be acceptable also. So that means based on that, I could have a descriptive correlational design, I could have a predictive correlation design, or I could have been testing a model. Any model which is existing, हम model test भी कर सकते हैं. So again, based on this, I can develop a hypothesis. So here we have a predictive design where we have the values, we add up, and we have a predictive value. Again, these are the same. Whatever I have done, I'm explaining the same thing in different forms. Like I said, pre-test, what was the condition, the treatment, and post-test. So that means this gap has been covered. Intervention has happened, and then you're going to take out the results and you're going to write. So that means even this control group designs are going to be good. If I have a control group, then my designs are foolproof. They are the best. So there is another thing which is called as nested design. This is what we see in hospitals. When we go, you go to a primary nursing care, what do I see? That there is a primary care and there is a hospital which lacks primary care. तो हम क्या देखते हैं? Traditional care में हम देखते हैं कि there is primary care. New approaches में हम क्या देखते हैं कि round the clock medication होती है. तो हर एक घंटे पे आके nurse note करती है. So these are called nested designs. Whether how do you want to do? You want to have a study twice a day. You want to have a takeover, you want to take the readings once in a day, 5 times a day, or together, but you do need to have these NAT charts, which these are called, and these are very important. Now, finally, I have to have more controls, or I can actually increase the internal validity. That will actually, there will be nobody to refute your designs. If we have followed all my experimental designs well, then my validity is excellent. So then I will have very easily I can define my hypothesis. It is going to be very practical because of my implementation. It could be feasible and very comparable. So that means specifically I name a design, I identify, I provide a roadmap. This is how I'm to do. I can discuss my rationale. I can also understand the threats to my validity of the chosen design so that I can defend my hypothesis. Now, this last 10 slides only talk about qualitative and quantitative research. This the organizers have to tell me. Do I have the time to tell them, or should I start with the questions and then just end it if they feel up to it? Yes, organizers, you tell me if the students want to interact and ask me questions still here, because these are the now only the examples of designs, how I qualitatively measure them or quantitatively measure them.
How much time it will take?
10 minutes?
Okay, you can do.
I can do? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Because I thought in case Gunjan has raised his hand, could I get a question please from him?
After your presentation,
Okay. No, if he needs to ask, he can ask so that before I move on, but it's fine. Okay. So what do I do? I have understood many things now, but I have to quantify my research. My concept is clear. I know a problem. I can define the functions. I can define the thing. I can control it. I can put an experiment or a non-experiment, and I can defend my thesis. But whatever I do, I just need to give a quantitation also. I cannot just talk about it and say, nahi, nahi, हमने सोच लिया तो best है. ऐसा नहीं है. We have to prove it. We have to validate it, and we have to then defend it. तो मेरे comparatively हम experimental design जब लगाते हैं, तो what do? We have to see what are the trend, the studies, what are the cohorts we are going to take. Cohorts are the bits and pieces of people I'm going to, the group study which I'm going to select. Or I can have a panel of studies that these are the different experiments I have done which are going to give me an answer to this. Or I have blind studies where we don't tell the people that this is the problem we are looking at, but just ask them questions without them knowing the problem and without an inclination of what the answers should be. Or I have a double blind studies where even the researcher doesn't know what he's asking for whom. There is just a group of set of questions or a set of experiments which we do where the control and the study population all are in, they are given coded names. So that becomes a double blind study. Why do we do this? To eliminate bias, to collect correct data, so that we cannot say that this was my research design has been such where my own intervention can give me the answers which I want. Is that the way we want? No. So what is it that I'm going to look at? I'm going to look at the fact that this is, I have two groups. I have introduced an intervention that is pre-test and post-test. And in that certain period of time, whether the impact has occurred, and if the impact has occurred, how much it has occurred. That means, has the intervention crossed over? That means my experimental becomes the control and the experimental group becomes the experimental group. Why the thing becomes a control? Because that was the baseline information I had. Based on that, the intervention occurred. And once the intervention occurred, it became so much better or so much worse than this. So this is also called an A-B design. A-B. That means पहला हमने A-B लेके start किया, फिर हमने A-B लेके वापस उसको experimental और control बना के vice versa करके उसका information लिया. So findings can be easily compared quantitatively. What is the problem here? Only problem is discontinuity, because I may not find the same people again. Then the other is when I have a trend studies. When I do the trend studies, what do I see? I have a roadmap, and this roadmap is supposed to change over a period of time. So what I need to do is what happened in the past, what is happening now, and what will happen in future. Obviously, my prediction is going to not always be correct, but sometimes it can be correct. Then we can extrapolate also. So that means these are naturally your weather designs, your forecasting designs based on these kind of statistics. These are called the trend designs. So that means I have a number of data points, and these number of data points are my observation points of the past. इतना चीज हुआ, उससे आज ये हो रहा है, तो थोड़ी clarity मिलती है. Based on this, I'm going to extrapolate my numbers and say that this is going to be predicted. So now accurate results for weather prediction will come 2 weeks before the event. But from here we can predict कि last year 37 degree था, उससे last year 35 degree था, तो भी 33 से 37 के बीच में रहेगा. Something like that. We can make a legitimate logical prediction of this. So these are called assumptions. Well, similarly, we have these cohort studies, which cohort means I make groups based on certain characteristics. And these characteristics could be यहाँ पे birth, graduation, marriage. Yeah, we have like graduates coming out in 2000. So many people came out in 2000. Today, 2020, they are placed so well. What is the employment history from 2000 to 2020? Only 10% employment, 60% to business. Then from 2000 to 2020, what would be the prediction from Delhi University people, whether they would be going for higher studies, etc., etc. So here we do not actually need the respondents. So this prediction study is also very easy to follow. So similar to looking at the cohort studies and the trend studies, We also have the longitudinal and perspective studies, which I have already mentioned, that these are the ones which help to predict. Even financial budgets are made based on this. That financial budget is based on the past expenditure. For sciences, when I say it is a blind effect, that means my main objective for a blind study is to have a placebo effect. Placebo is a term which is used for people who are given same medication, but the capsules do not have anything. They have no medicines, but they feel they are having medicines and they improve. So that placebo effect is a more psychological effect to the patient, but that placebo effect gives us the baseline study to compare the ones which are actually taking the treatment and improving. This helps a lot in neurological studies also. And any drug has to have placebos. Without placebo studies, whatever you are looking at, COVID-19 vaccine undertaking place, everybody is taking these things. So there are placebos also being given to people who believe they have COVID, but actually they will recover without the drug. So the placebos are the single blind studies. But when I have to do double blind studies, it is always to eliminate the researcher bias. So that means I'm avoiding the researcher also to know the exact thing. So I make a double blind. The researcher is also not aware. The population where you're doing, they are also not aware. So how will the nurse know they're giving the right thing? So there is a third person who has come in between. That study is then taken over or given to a third party to do and validate your results. Any patent, before you get it, your research goes to a third party who validate your results. So this is called data validation. So that means ये तो quantitative हो गया सारा. So the 4 or 5 things we have understood in quantitative. What will be my qualitative research? पता लगा लो case history क्या है, orally पूछ लो कि क्या 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 you've written. You go to focus groups, you do the interviews, you make an interesting study and you write it down. You make the participants also observe, note down their observation. You look at it holistically. It is your research problem, your research design. So you're looking at the community, you have a community discussion, you have a cohort decision, and then all this, whether you have an experimental design, you don't have an experimental design, you are going to look at all these studies which you have taken from a person, from a group, from an episode, from a process, from a community, from a society, whatever we have done. What are we going to look at? This data collection, I am going to study certain experiences, certain perception, certain accounts based on eyewitnesses or based on information from others. Maybe folklore, कोई कहानी है, दादा दादी ने कहानी बताई, but वो भी एक information है, which we cannot negate. आप उसको study design में डाल सकते हो. But ये सबको हम करेंगे क्या? All these discussions, all this information which we have selected, what are we going to do? I am going to put them up as interviews and give it to a journal to publish. So मेरे reflections, मेरे insights, मेरे challenges, मेरे ideas, मेरे experimental synthesis, जो भी हमने बनाया, जो हमने personal problem लिया, philosophical problem लिया, जो हमारे daily experiences हैं, all these I have to structure the designs, put them into journals for the students, give a specific question, ask them to make a target research design and tell them follow these set of guidelines and put it in a journal. Unstructured journals भी हैं जहाँ पे आपको कोई structured design में data नहीं लेता. You just write to them and as your story they would like to publish. So that means you must record whatever you have. You must think of everything you have. And then if you follow a research design pattern, the way I have said, you validate your results without a bias under controlled conditions, then you have a research design and you will have a publication without knowing. And thank you. And I know everybody is angry with me, so you can ask me questions, as many as you want.
Thank you so much, Anita Di. You explained so well and in such an interesting manner, and giving examples from science and as well as social science also. And you explained the
That was the challenge.
research design and the steps involved in it. I think there's a question from Gunjan Kumar.
Yeah.
Gunjan Kumar, please unmute yourself and ask your question. Gunjan?
He has put the question in the chat box also.
Okay,
He
let
has
me have
put
a
in
look.
the chat box. Anita Di, you can see
Yeah,
the
I'm reading. His question is that science and technology innovation baseline study is necessary according to necessity. In this case, what is the future plan of organization in India? I don't follow. You have, for anything I have explained, you have to have a rationale. आप क्यों चाहते हो? अगर even if you go to your mother's kitchen, आप खाना चाहते हो, क्या खाना चाहते हो? आपको भूख लगी है इसलिए आप खाना चाहते हो. You are justifying. So for any research idea, whatever you have to have an idea. And you have to think out of the box to have a new idea. To prove a new idea, still you have to have some rationale. कि ये, like I said, जुलाई में admissions होती हैं, बारिश भी बहुत होती है. But I cannot say कि I can prove this. And I can prove it that yes, all the admissions do take place and that amount of rain does happen in August. But is that a comparable design? No. So you have to have rationale, you have to have logic, and you have to defend. All science and innovation studies will have these baseline questions. हमेशा याद रखो, हम क्यों करना चाहते हैं? हम ये चाहते हैं, फिर हम ये चाहते हैं, तो हमको ये कैसे करना है? अगर हम ये पूछेंगे, what do I want? Then the next question is, if I want this, how will I do the experiment to get this answer? What are the variables I need to take into consideration? तो ये सवाल जब तक नहीं पूछोगे, that set of 8 questions जो मैंने कहा था, how, what, when, कब करोगे? बारिशों में करोगे, सर्दी में करोगे, सुबह करोगे, शाम को करोगे. So you have to have all these baseline answers. First, you have to ask these questions to yourself. Then only you can ask and defend. अपने आप को justify कर सकते हो. फिर आपको बोला जाएगा कि आप knowledge पढ़ो, literature review करो. Literature review करोगे तो आपको मिलेगा, oh, somebody else has also made such an observation. Then you start, you know, जब हम लोग PhD करते थे तो हमारे पास PhD cards होते थे. हर एक person जिसने जो लिखा था उसका एक कार्ड बनता था. हम लोग के पास इंटरनेट तो नहीं था कि 1 मिनट में दबाया और आंसर खटखट आ गए. हम लोग को तो एक एक कार्ड को प्रिजर्व करना था और इतने मोटे मोटे 10 डब्बे थे कार्ड्स के, so that we could go back to that observation and then write your literature review. तो आपको, you have to understand कि अगर मैंने कुछ सोचा है तो जरूर किसी ने ये काम किया होगा. और after that, if we get to know किसी ने नहीं किया, well and good, that is your good idea. Then you see कि presently कोई काम कर रहा है उसमें, presently भी कोई काम नहीं कर रहा, even better. Then you start predicting for the future. But you have to defend yourself. And definitely, it is a necessity and a necessity. तो आपका कोई भी future plan आपके strength of validity and accuracy of your design पे depend करेगा.
There was another hand raised, Shalu. Shalu, you can ask the question. You had raised your hand. And just a reminder to everybody, I hope all of you had filled the feedback form yesterday. Today also the feedback form has been put on the chat box. So kindly fill it up. That is being treated as your attendance. And any questions coming?
Gajanand Thakur has raised his hand.
Gajanand Thakur. Unmute yourself. Gajanand Thakur, please. Yeah, ask a question.
Yes, good afternoon, madam. Yes.
Good afternoon.
Yes, madam, I am doing research in computer science from Magadha University. I am developing a prototype of software. Which design is suitable for this? Just I want to, while doing documentation. I am developing a software prototype, a new software actually.
My dear, your
Design is
software
more suitable
prototype,
for this.
very nice. Your software prototype is for what? What kind of problem are you?
Yes, madam. That is a secret. It is about the lead pollution in our country. Lead pollution.
Lead pollution.
Yeah.
No, you
It's
have to
affecting
go back
many
and see
people.
how many people have done it and what is the kind of formula you're taking out for prediction. What it will tell better than what is already existing. There are many programs which are already predicting the lead pollution. How
Yeah.
are you collecting the data? On what basis? What will your variables be? The same protocol you have to go through, and you have to define your problem.
Yes.
Cannot say that this functional design is best for you. No, 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 no. I don't know how many variables you're taking into your program to predict the correct prediction. So you go through the control of variance, you look at the independent variables, and then you tell us. You are the one who's going to tell us. I don't know what problem you're looking at. But yes, if you go through this design, it will help you accurately give a program so that you do not fail. It will be a successful program.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Anyone else? Any questions? If there are no more questions, then we'll end the session today. Okay, we'll just wait for 1 or 2 minutes and then.
There is no link in the chat for feedback. Of course there is.
Yeah, yeah. There is a
Then,
link.
Okay, Sonam Keshav has raised her hand.
yeah, Sonam Keshav, unmute yourself. Sonam Keshav. Where is she? Sonam Keshav? She has disappeared.
No, it must be network issues. now.
Connectivity problem again.
Could be she might join again.
Ma'am, can you explain double blind design with an example? Oh, double blind design is very simple. With all this COVID vaccine which has come in, Pune-based company is doing the what you call validation for the Oxford-based person who has done who has made the vaccine. वहाँ पे नहीं हो रहा है. अब वो इनके पास वैक्सीन आई है और ये आगे जब उसमें दे रहे हैं, हॉस्पिटल्स में दे रहे हैं फॉर डिजाइनिंग, तो ये लोग प्लेसिबो भी दे रहे हैं, ये भी दे रहे हैं. सो दैट मीन्स नोबडी नोज, द रिसर्चर डजंट नो whether the further study is going to be taken. It is out of the researcher's hand. जब रिसर्चर करता है तब तो उसका बायस हो सकता है, बट जब रिसर्चर नहीं कर रहा है, उसने आगे वैक्सीन किसी को दे दी है फॉर अ थर्ड पार्टी टू वैलिडेट, वो ऑटोमेटिकली डबल ब्लाइंड हो जाएगा. पर डबल ब्लाइंड में अगर वो नर्स को बता दे, वो अगर 4 वायल्स भेजते हैं और चारों वायल में दो प्लेसिबो है और 2 वो है, तो दे डोंट नो किस पेशेंट को जा रहा है. बट द पर्सन हु हैज सेंट द वैक्सीन नोज कि वायल 1 में प्लेसिबो था, वायल 2 में ड्रग था, या वायल 3 में तीसरा ड्रग था, या कॉन्सेंट्रेशन और ड्रग वेरी करती है. वो वेरिएबल्स वो पर्सन डिसाइड करेगा. जो पूना की कंपनी है वो डिसाइड करके अपनी पैकेजिंग अलग करके भेजते हैं. तो दैट मीन्स ये डबल ब्लाइंड है. ना पेशेंट को पता है, नर्स को पता है, और ना रिसर्चर को पता है. इसलिए ये डबल ब्लाइंड है. नहीं तो रिसर्चर का बायस आ जाता है. सिंगल ब्लाइंड स्टडी में तो रिसर्चर इज द पर्सन हु इज कंट्रोलिंग, तो वो सिंगल ब्लाइंड हो जाता है. जैसे मैं अपने लैब में एक्सपेरिमेंट कर रही हूँ, मैंने 6 चूहे रखे हैं, 3 चूहों को एक्सपेरिमेंट में रखा है और 3 को कंट्रोल में रखा है. तो ये मैंने अपने स्टूडेंट को नहीं बताया है, तो स्टूडेंट अपना एक्सपेरिमेंट कर रहा है, तो ये सिंगल ब्लाइंड है. बिकॉज आपने स्टूडेंट को ड्रग करो तो स्टूडेंट का बायस है. संजय खन्ना थैंक्स लिख रहा है, लेकिन सुगंधा को समझ आई कि नहीं पता नहीं. हाँ, थैंक यू मैम.
सबको समझ आ रही है, आप इतने अच्छे से एक्सप्लेन कर रही हैं.
वो डबल ब्लाइंड को भी डबल थैंक्स हो गया. That's children are innovative in their own answers.
Any more questions? There's someone who's given a comment. Ma'am, you have explained everything in detail and so well that we have no doubt.
Okay. Good. Okay. Good. I'm glad. I'm glad after so many years. Yes. It's nice to be back to Magad.
इतने सालों के बाद आप एन कॉलेज के में बच्चों को और जूलॉजी के भी बच्चों को देखने का मौका मिला हो.
देखने को एक भी बच्चा नहीं दिखा.
अच्छा.
But it's okay.
All the videos are off.
I know. Otherwise bandwidth हो जाती है, बहुत मुश्किल होती है. I did an international conference abhi just in the April. So I had almost 8,000 people. इतनी मुश्किल हुई थी ना, मतलब just to control them was so difficult. So
There are a lot of compliments coming to you, Anita Di.
thank you, thank you.
Very impressive and easy to understand lecture. Thank you, ma'am, for such an awesome session. Thank you, ma'am, for awesome lecture, for such an interesting lecture. Excellent presentation.
Oh my God. Chalo, good, I'm glad. At least the children were awake.
But your presentation, then it was put up in such an interesting manner. So
It was so difficult to put in diagrams in it. It was so difficult to even make flowcharts for this. I didn't know. And too much of write-up also in one slide. It's very boring to the children's eyes. But text nahi acha. Good. I'm glad children are liking it, and I hope we are able to meet again. It's खत्म हुआ ना आप लोग का कि अभी और 2 दिन है.
नहीं, और रत्ना ये भी बता दो बच्चों को कि कुछ ही दिन पहले अनीता दी हम ही लोगों के कॉलेज में पढ़ा रही थी.
वो शुरू में ही, in fact, I had mentioned
फिर से उसको बोल दो कि
that she was a faculty in our college in Department of Zoology, and she left our college in 2003 and joined Delhi University in Kirodimal College.
I was there from 90 till 2000.
1990 to 2003, she was in AN College.
I don't know. I just left it. And it's my pleasure to speak. It was a
No wonder all of us know her.
Yes.
So I think there are no more questions coming.
I
Because
would like to meet her and hear her again. Oh my God. All right. Thank you.
that's why I told you, we are going to call you in college now.
I'll be more than happy to come, not to worry.
So now I request Professor Tripti Gangawar to deliver the vote of thanks.
Am I audible? Sunai de raha hai mera? Okay. Okay. Thank you, Ratna. It is my privilege to extend vote of thanks on behalf of organizing committee. My sincere thanks to Dr. Arun Kumar sir, IQAC coordinator, for his perfect guidance and support he has extended to all of us for organizing the workshop. The entire AN College fraternity is extend a hearty vote of thanks to the resource person, Dr. Anita Kamra Verma. We are grateful for the time and efforts you took to share your experiences and the thought on the topic research design. My heartful appreciation for Dr. Ratna Amrit for coordinating all the sessions so efficiently. A big thanks to the members of organizing committee, and a special thanks to Seema and Preeti for taking the initiative in organizing this workshop. And thank you, the participants, for paying remarkable attention. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. If I may be allowed, I would also like to thank all of you again. And really, it's been quite some time since I've got such compliments for my talk. Pleasure to read them. And the homecoming was very nice, and thank you very much. And nice to see.
I know you get the same compliments in Kirodimal.
They're bored, too much of it.
No, they are not.
And why would they be giving compliments to a teacher who teaches them every day? But it's nice. So glad, children. Thank you very much for being alert. And thank you, Dr. Arun Kumar, for being the IQAC coordinator. I did not mention independently. I was so happy to see my own friends that I forgot.
Thank you so much, Anita Di.
Thank you very much. Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
Thank you, Anita. Take care.
Yeah, bye-bye. Take care.
Please
Bye.
send
Thanks.
the feedback form and submit. Again, I'm
Yes, Ratna is all set.
glad your attendance.
I'm leaving now.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay,
Bye.
thank you.
Thank you.
Preeti Di, now
Yeah,
let's
yeah,
leave because again we have to meet at 5.